In a world where cities are exploding in population and resources are becoming increasingly scarce, one country is taking the lead in redefining how we live, work, and move. Smart City, where technology connects everything from traffic lights to public services, are no longer science fiction. They have become a reality. China, with its rapid pace of innovation, is transforming its cities into vibrant laboratories where artificial intelligence, high-speed networks, and robots are shaping the future. What is happening here is not only changing the lives of millions of people, but also setting new standards for cities worldwide.
Enough, it is true. Our government is a fraud. And I'm gonna prove it, right? I'm gonna prove it in this three-part, China, comparing China's system to our system of government, their technology and things of that nature. I'm really talking about all of it combined. All right. In 2008, when we had a financial crisis, we printed our way out of it. We printed our way out of our mess, and we tried to do our best to back the banks. Right. We did everything we could to put every dime of the bill that came out, instead of them putting it in the money and into the hands of the citizens, the money into the hands of the citizens, instead of them doing that, they wanted to back the banks like they always do, right? Banks back banks. Central banking system and the Federal Reserve, they're banks, and they wanted to back other banks. They thought that's the way that we get out of the crisis. Crisis is through the banks. Well, China thought something different because they had the same situation. Everybody bought into those instruments that collapsed the world, the collateralized debt obligations and the credit default swaps and all those instruments that came through 2008 was, all they were like nuclear bomb financial instruments to destroy other economies in case we get destroyed. That's all it was. All right. So what did China do to get out of their mess? Of course, they went in and turned inward and created infrastructure. And because they have so many engineers in their country, they put the engineers to work. And I'm talking about thousands at a time working on projects. Thousands and thousands of engineers working on infrastructure. And you will see the result of thousands of engineers working on projects.
Every mega project is a challenge that pushes the limits of the impossible. Futuristic megastructures appear ahead of their time. Engineering marvels rise against the force of nature. Extreme geography demands creative solutions. China also stands out in the development of drones, artificial intelligence, and robotics. Today, we dive into the most astonishing feats of Chinese engineering. We'll also explore lesser-known but truly remarkable megaprojects.
China rarely crack, while others fall apart after a few rainy seasons. Most countries use gravel and tar alone, but in China, a steel mesh is laid first, then covered with thick concrete. This mesh spreads weight evenly, reducing stress on any one spot. That's why their roads last for decades.
Beijing-Shanghai Expressway is considered one of the busiest and most modern roads in the world. In terms of road construction, China has surpassed the entire world and proved that for it, no task or route is impossible. Do you know that China has the largest road network in the world? It has around 6.5 million kilometers of roads. China also possesses the world's longest highway network, known as the National Trunk Highway System. The most remarkable thing is that China has built its highways and roads in such a way that they connect mountains, deserts, and even seas. The Beijing-Shanghai Expressway is considered one of the busiest and most modern roads in the world. In terms of road construction, China has surpassed the entire world and proved that for it, no task or route is impossible.
This turns out to be a phenomenal venture that they ended up achieving. I mean, it was one of the most historic infrastructure projects of all time. I don't think it is any other situation where infrastructure was so significant in changing a culture and a society than the one China put on. And the Belt and Road Initiative that they went to Africa and helped them out as well. And I was thinking, man, y'all should be out there employing these black folks down there and, the Africans. But I understand why they didn't. And they didn't employ them because they wanted to keep the money in the hands of the Chinese. They wanted to keep every single penny in the hand of a Chinese. You see, that's what they were trying to do. And I was thinking they're just going over there and they're just trying to get these people in debt. And that probably was a part of it. But they also were trying to come out of the situation financially by employing their people and putting every single penny into their people. Now, before I get into, the phenomenal feat of their infrastructure and what they did with it, before I get into that, I want to talk a little bit to you about their tax, how they are taxed. And of course, they're going to be oppressed with their tax structure and their tax system. They're going to be oppressed, and their tax system is going to be much worse than America's because it's a communist country. All right. So I'm going to read off a little bit of it. But it was instituted as a modern tax system, personal income tax system that was introduced in 1980. It uses a progressive rate structure ranging from 3 to 45%. So a progressive rate structure from 3 to 45%. I can't talk today for some reason. A monthly exemption threshold of 5,000 yuan. All right. So it means that the lower income people, 1,000 yuan equal about $700. The lower income people, they don't pay anything. All right. So the additional deductions exist for mortgage interest, children's education, elderly care, and medical expenses. The VAT, or the value added tax, it's embedded in nearly every purchase. So VAT is like, consumer to purchasing from stores and things like that. Consumer tax, right? So it's embedded in every purchase, and the rates range by the area and what area you live in, 6 to 13%. So from 6 to 13%, they're taxed, all right, on goods and services. And the citizens pay directly, just like we do. We go consume right there, go to Walmart, and they give us a tax, all right? So it's very similar to our sales tax. Okay, well, let's go to social contributions. Workers pay into a pension, all right? Medical insurance, unemployment insurance, and here's the housing fund. So workers pay into a pension, medical insurance, unemployment insurance, and the housing fund, which I don't think we pay into that, but we do have, government subsidized homes and things like that. So, but I don't remember a check because I haven't worked for anybody in a long time where I had to get deductions out of my check. So I don't remember that one. Okay. Employee contributions are typically between 10 and 11%, all right, of the wages. With employees, so that's the employee contributions typically run from 10 to 11%. So employees, they get taxed about 10 to 11%. With employers paying significantly more. Okay, we don't know what that significance is, but there's some things that you're going to recognize in the rest of this as well. So there's a deed tax, okay, when buying property. Vehicle purchase tax. Stamp and duty tax. So they go to the post office and they tax on the stamp just like we're taxed on the stamp. All right. Vehicle purchase tax. But I don't see that they have to register their vehicle every year. I don't see that here. All right. I may be wrong, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It'll be great to get some correction. So listen to this. China has no property tax on residential estate. Through pilot programs, they've been testing this no property tax in Shanghai and Chongqing. All right. So I'm thinking that AI is saying this is a no property tax system that's just starting. Tax compliant and enforcement. The government derives enormous revenue from state-owned enterprises and land sales, making it less dependent on personal income than Western governments. So they have the state tax. Well, they don't have a state tax. It didn't say a state tax there. So somebody look it up. If they have it, they have it. All right. But they have no property tax. This is what they're starting. They don't enforce it on the high earners taxes. Like we don't enforce ours on the high earners either. Okay. So you're saying you're saying what's the difference? Tell me the differences. Okay. Somebody tell me the differences. So I had to read that just so you can understand. The reason why we are going at China as much as we do is because they are going to expose and have been exposing our government as frauds. That's it. As simple as that. Because China, they don't really typically go to war. They haven't in like 100 years or something like that. You know, they are peaceful unless you mess with them, of course, like most people. You know, they don't go out picking wars. But so why are we so afraid of them? We're afraid of their dominance, but why? I really think it's really surrounding the fact that they expose a lot of our politicians. That's what I think. So before I got into this whole, situation with the infrastructure, I just wanted you to kind of know that the Chinese tax system is virtually the same. They are communists, but they have the same tax system as we do. But we have taxation without representation. They have no inflation. We're getting taxed again on inflation. So we get a property we're gonna get a purchase tax. So we go purchase something and then we pay a tax on that. But we also are getting taxed because of inflation. That's an extra tax. So I'm saying to you here today that we have taxation with no representation. That's bottom line for me. Is that it's taxation without representation. So let's get into some of China's incredible infrastructure programs.
Its unusual design. At Lisabon Station, the tracks run directly through a residential building, an ingenious solution to the city's lack of space.
Subscribe. Plants grow on top, so people call it the green tunnel. Driving feels fresh, bright, and futuristic. Second, in some areas, roads have colorful markings, red, blue, green, not for beauty. These places often have heavy fog and rising river water. So when visibility is low, the colors guide drivers and save lives. Beautiful roads with smart safety. Third, there's a highway built over a river called Guojiao Water Highway. Almost 40% of it floats above water like a bridge. Instead of cutting mountains and forests, engineers built over the river, protecting nature.
Completes its big projects so quickly. Actually, when China works on a project, it uses its highly advanced machines and works with maximum number of engineers, due to which the work gets done very quickly, and because of doing so, these people start working on other projects in which they are able to earn more money.
It feels quite realistic, which is kind of cool, but also a little bit creepy.
I'm at a robot and AI expo in Beijing, where China is showing off all its wonderful and weird tech advancements.
You've probably seen these guys before. These are some of the most advanced humanoid robots China has to show. And the plan is that by 2030, these robots would be in mass production, able to be exported around the world for both commercial and residential use.
And there's about to be a hell of a lot more of this, because China has just unveiled a plan to have tech and AI world supremacy in the next 5 years, in areas including robots, flying cars, and of course, humanoids.
Now this is what I want. If I could have one that would do my washing, I would be very happy.
And within 5 years, China also wants to get AI into 90% of its economy, meaning AI systems could soon replace workers and be integrated into nearly every part of daily life. China says it's going to pump billions of dollars into research, development, jobs, and new startups to win the tech war with the United States. But there are some big challenges.
To reach this goal, China says it needs to achieve total self-reliance. What that means practically is it doesn't want to have to rely on any other country for any parts of its tech and AI industry. And that's a problem, because at the moment, China relies on America to provide the real top high quality grade chips needed for big AI and tech systems.
Faced with the problem that they had in 2008, the housing crisis situation, the instruments took their economy down as well as it took our economy down, took economies down across the world. What we did was we decided to put money into the banks, and they decided to put money in the infrastructure and into the people. And how did they put the money into the people? They created project after project to employ their citizens. And that was brilliant. But it was like common sense also, But we chose to back the banks, and the banks, of course, gave money to the executives in the form of bonuses. Instead of them being able to put that money to work and giving out loans and things like that, they ate it up with bonuses. So the differences in the cultures is just significantly different. The greed over here is just paramount to our failure. So what do we do about it? Well, we hold these people accountable. But I'm gonna continue on. I'm not trying to do a propaganda video for China, but I want you to see, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to see how much worse we are off compared to some of their. I'm talking about the mainland China. I'm not talking about the people that live in like the serious rural areas, because they have some incredible situations of poverty outside of mainland China. Just like we got incredible poverty situations in our rural areas in the Appalachian Mountains and things like that. They have the same situation, but they have it at a larger scale because they have a population that's incredibly large. I mean, they got a billion people, and on the backside of that billion is almost 300 million more. In fact, some studies say that they have 1.4 billion people, so that back half is more than we have in America. So of course they're going to have poverty. But what I'm saying to you is, in mainland China, in Shanghai, let's just take Shanghai for example. I'm not even going to compare it to New York, because that's the equivalent. Shanghai, New York. New York is the biggest city in our country. Shanghai is the biggest city in their country. They have 31 million people in Shanghai. I don't know how many. I think it's like 11 million or 11 to 15 million. I don't know what the number is in New York. All right, but they have 31 million in Shanghai. So Shanghai is 56% cheaper to live in Shanghai than it is in New York. 56% cheaper. So I don't even want to compare it to that. So let's compare it to Winston-Salem. That's where I'm at. Let's compare Shanghai to Winston-Salem. I mean, of course, we have 250,000 or more. I mean, in a city, we got 250,000 people, which is not much, but it's a significant amount in North Carolina. All right. But the whole Forsyth County is a bit more. But we're going to talk about the city of Winston-Salem. It's about 250,000. Now, in Shanghai, you can live off $1,000 a month. Easily. Well, not easily, but you would be struggling a little bit, but you can make it. All right. But people are struggling in Winston-Salem, and they damn sure can't make it off $1,000 a month. Shanghai is the biggest city in China and the most expensive city in China. And they can live, if they have $1,500 a month, they're fine. If they make $2,000 or $2,500 a month, they live a good life. They're saving a lot of money. In Winston-Salem, my apartment alone costs $2,400. Okay, I mean, but I do live downtown, and so that's a significant amount. But my apartment costs $2,400, right? And it doesn't even include, some things like water. But yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. I can fit it under there, but it's $2,400. Okay, so they already beat me by $1,400. You see what I'm saying? So they got $1,400 to spend in their pocket. I'm comparing Shanghai to Winston-Salem. It's the number one place to live in the number one as far as theater and attractions and high paced and a lot of jobs, Shanghai, right? And for us, it would be New York and Los Angeles. Shanghai is like 60% cheaper than Los Angeles. I'm just not getting it. I'm not understanding. I'm really not. And the rent situation has not changed much. I mean, it increases a little bit in Shanghai and Beijing. And think of this. What does this mean? Why is it that they get to live a better life than we do? We're democracy. They're a communist country. I thought we were supposed to be in better standing than a communist country. I thought that the communists were supposed to have a bunch of just poor running around. I thought it was supposed to be a whole class or millions and millions of people in poverty. That's what I was thinking. That's what I thought, but I could be wrong. So maybe we need to stop calling them communists, and maybe we need to start making it more like a socialist type of situation, or talk about their economy more like it's a socialist economy, because it's not really communist. It has a lot of capitalism in it. So that's all I wanted to say. I didn't want to make. I'm not a communist apologist. I'm not making videos for the communist regime of China. I'm not doing any of that. They have some great things that about their culture that we should adopt. I mean, definitely. They have some great things about their culture we should adopt. But I love America. I love being in America. I love being an American. But we, as Americans, as the Black American, we have never really gotten the full American experience. Let me put it that way. We have never gotten the full American experience. Even when I was playing in the NFL, I didn't even get the full American experience. This is a story I'm going to tell. This is an aside. One day I'm driving home from work. I just left the Panther Stadium. I'm driving home from work, and a cop pulls me over, right? And he hit the lights as I was turning into my neighborhood at Firethorn Country Club in South Charlotte. And I take the right into the community, and I started taking another right, and he put his lights on as I'm taking a right. And my house was about not even a quarter mile away. So I just decided to just drive on into my driveway. And I knew that the reason why he was asking me, pulling me over, he didn't ask me a question yet, but I knew the reason why he was pulling me over was because I was driving a Benz. It was the car that I had bought my ex-wife. So I drive in that Benz into the driveway. This dude literally puts his lights on in the driveway. Literally put his lights on in the driveway. So I'm in the driveway, sitting in my car. So just to show him that I was living there, I opened the garage. To show him this is my place. He proceeds to still question me about me driving that car. And not only did he question me, he asked me to get out of the car. I said, I'm not getting out of the car. What am I getting out of the car for? What? I did not make any type of violation as far as driving is concerned. I was going the speed limit. I put on my blinker. What did you pull me over for? What is the reason? He said, is this your vehicle? Now, I say that to say, we as Americans, we don't get the full experience because we can't be a team. Chinese, they're a team, and they're trying to push their society and their country forward and trying to make it the best country that they can make it. That's what they're doing. But Americans, we want to fight each other. We want to be on opposite sides. We can be on opposite sides. We can disagree, but we have to be a team and push the country forward and achieve things like the Chinese achieve. Now, I know I got a little preachy right there, but I just wanted to say that everybody's not getting the full experience. We have to give every citizen in this country the full experience of being an American. We have to learn the right history, the true history. We need to learn and get these children in our country at a level of the Chinese. Yes, they come over here and learn, but they go right back home. Every time they do projects, every time they do something, they try to keep every penny in the hands of a Chinese citizen. We want to shift the burden and the work outside the country and put the money in the hands of someone else besides the American. We want to try to create poverty instead of create success and pull people out of poverty. Now, I'm going to get into the last phase of this podcast right here. And the part 3 is about the BRICS. And this is the final nail in the coffin that we want to go to war with China. We don't like the fact that they built a Three Gorges Dam. We want to tear that up. We don't like the fact that they built a little Dubai. We want to bomb and explode, make it go boom, just because we're jealous, right? We don't really want. We want to block off their energy structure because they're creating renewables and doing things that we should be doing. They're exposing us as frauds. That's my opinion. Anyway, this is Jimmy Hitchcock. I'm out. Peace.
Driving technological competition and modernization between nations. Join Top 10 Discoveries Official as we explore the top 5 smart cities in China, pioneers of global technological innovation. In a world racing to build sustainable and efficient cities, China has surged ahead with unprecedented speed and scale. With 65% of its population, equivalent to more than 900 million people, living in urban areas. This nation not only meets the demands of urbanization, but also pioneers the integration of advanced technology to create smart cities. China currently boasts over 500 smart city projects, accounting for nearly half of the global total, far surpassing the approximately 100 major projects in the United States. The difference lies in a synchronized national strategy, fueled by massive investment, $200 billion from 2016 to 25, 2.5 times the $80 billion spent by the United States during the same period. 5 standout cities, Hangzhou, Chongqing, Chengdu, Beijing, and Shenzhen, are leading the charge, each showcasing a unique breakthrough in urban technology. Hangzhou excels with artificial intelligence, turning data into a powerful tool for efficient urban management. Chongqing shines with its comprehensive digital management system, overseeing everything from energy to infrastructure. Chengdu leads in applying 5th-generation networks, shaping the future of urban communication. Beijing, economic hub and capital of technology. Meanwhile, Shenzhen, often referred to as China's Silicon Valley, is leading the way in robotics and cutting-edge technology innovation. These cities are not only enhancing the quality of life for millions of Chinese citizens, but also setting new standards for global urbanization. From collaborative projects in Africa to initiatives in Southeast Asia, China's smart city technology is reshaping how the world views the future of urban life.
Forward and stop balking. We taking down these demons. Start walking. We need a plan of action. Stop talking. We need a plan of